morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We're here for Good Tues and News Day, in which we're going to share all the good stories we've been able to find since, today and last week. Got some great things happening in the world and maybe some nice things that make us feel good about, still being here on this planet. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before we started. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to speak and read live on stream. Let's get into those good news headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Good Tues News Day. Scotland becomes the first part of the UK to screen babies for rare muscle disease. Plus, a group of dogs that went missing in China go viral after walking 17 kilometers home.
And a small company in Vancouver Island is cleaning up mining waste. That's all I got for my first segment.
The terrorism index has been released and global terrorism falls to a decade low, but Western fatalities are at a surge. Plus, Nintendo could be forced to shed one of its biggest anti-consumer practices, batteries.
More good news. Pharmaceutical companies are going to stop testing on horseshoe crabs. And a viral inventor creates a storage chair. I already had one, but thanks for the storage chair.
In my culture news, old masters, new methods, the tech transforming art restoration.
And it's National Cheesecake Day. I love cheese. I love steak. It's my day. March 24th, 2026. I'm Before Coffee.
It's lunch break time for some people, anyways. Though some people have lunch break at 1 p.m. So I hear, like they don't have it exactly at 12. They have it like at 1 p.m. or something. But yes, we're here.
30 to 12.
Yeah, something like that.
That seems to be
your
like
camera's doing something goofy.
Oh.
While you fix that, let's roll our segue wheel. Spin the segue wheel, roll the segue wheel, whatever. Perform an action at the wheel.
Let's do camera again.
Nope, it's got worse.
You know what?
While you're fixing that, think of a mixed metaphor for my next stories. We're going to start with some news coming out of Scotland. This is by Craig Megan on The Independent. Scotland has become the first part of the UK to screen babies for a rare condition that causes progressive muscle wastage in a move parents have described as a game changer. Spinal muscular atrophy, SMA, can result in muscle weakness, breathing and swallowing issues, and a loss of mobility in children. If caught early, the most devastating effects of the condition can be avoided. On average, 3 to 4 babies a year are born with SMA in Scotland. So not that many, but still, you want it to be 0, don't you? Or at least you want to catch it early so that they don't suffer. All parents will now be offered SMA screening for their newborns through the existing blood spot test, which is taken around day 4 after birth. So a first day of birth, they test your blood and go, hey, you're good to go. Tony and Carrie Pearson's daughter, Grace, was around 6 months old when she stopped being able to move her legs and began losing her strength. After several referrals, doctors in 24 confirmed it was SMA type 2. Since then, the parents have been campaigning for a national screening program. Carrie told the Press Association, we wish it came out sooner, obviously, but We are grateful now that every other child is going to go through all of those issues. They're going to get treatment sooner and be able to meet their milestone. And all families aren't going to have to go through the anxiety and stress that we did and other families went through. She said it was only logical that the rest of the UK falls behind Scotland's, before adding, can you really put a price on a child's life? Tony said the pilot is history being made in Scotland. He went on, it's £4 to test a baby for SMA. Is a child's life worth £4? Definitely worth more. I would say it's worth more than £4. He said he hoped the rest of the UK would follow Scotland, adding, it's a game changer. Dr. Sarah Smith, director of the screening laboratory in Glasgow, where all the tests were being conducted, said the aim of the pilot was to reveal whether a baby was SMA before they showed any symptoms and before any muscle wastage took place, so they could prevent it. The lab, next to the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, already screens for 10 disorders, and the new scheme would add SMA to the list. Dr. Smith said it would mean these babies are picked up pre-symptomatically. With SMA, unfortunately, once the symptoms are present, you can't easily reverse them. Our aim is to stop the symptoms from actually happening in the first place. So we'll be able to pick up the baby as having SMA pre-symptomatically, and we'll be able to put them on treatment, and then hopefully they won't present with some of the symptoms that this disease can have. So they'll have much better quality of life. Former Little Mix star Jessie Nelson has campaigned for all babies to be tested for SMA after disclosing her twins, Ocean Jade and Story Monroe Nelson Foster, were diagnosed with a rare condition. In February, she announced she had become a patron of SMA UK and urged her fans to donate to the charity, which aims to improve the lives of people with the condition. Now, this is what celebrity is for. Changing people's lives for the better. Giles Lomax, a chief executive officer of SMA UK and the father of twins living with SMA, said the Scottish pilot project was a huge moment for the SMA community, who he said have been campaigning for newborn screening for a decade. He added, with all 3 treatments now routinely available through NHS Scotland alongside newborn screening, the future for anyone diagnosed with SMA is very different compared to their peers who were diagnosed symptomatically. These babies will not have the opportunity to grow up without lifelong care needs and the complexity and challenging of living with SMA. The 2-year scheme is being funded by the Scottish Government, which will provide £95,000, and the pharmaceutical company Novartis, which will provide £435,000. Health Secretary Neil Gray said, SMA can have devastating implications for babies and their families, and this investment demonstrates our commitment to early detection through our screening program. I thank SMA UK and the local campaigners who've worked so hard to highlight the issue and Novartis for its funding. By detecting SMA before symptoms develop, screening could allow earlier treatment and could be life-changing in helping secure the best possible care and support for babies and family. So they're not saying that there was no way to screen for it before, but now it's being provided for everyone, right? Before you'd probably have to ask for it, maybe, if you even knew about it, right? But now that's going to be already offered to begin with for people who even don't know about the disease, and that's a great thing to celebrate for all the little babies around the UK. Yay!
Oh, baby. And as the metaphor goes, children gotta crawl before they can walk, and they gotta walk before they can rise from the ashes like Phoenix. There's your mixed metaphor.
Exactly. Gotta give them a chance to be able to rise up. My next story
Gives me hope.
is coming out of China, in which you might have seen this if you're an animal lover. A group of dogs that went missing in China returned home after 17 kilometers of walking. This is it from Amy Hawkins on The Guardian. A group of 7 dogs that went missing in China have gone viral after a video emerged of them walking more than 17 kilometers back home to their village, reuniting with their owners who had been searching for them for days. The video, first posted on March 15th, shows the dogs, including a golden retriever, a Labrador, German Shepherd, and a Pekingese, walking along the highway in Changchun, the capital of China's northeast, Jilin province, where temperatures are dropping below 0 Celsius overnight. Leading the pack is a corgi, later identified as the Chinese media as Dapang, or Big Fatty. Perfect name for a corgi right there. Big Fatty. The video went viral online and reportedly clocked up more than 230 million views. One volunteer for a local stray dog rescue center called Tong Tong said that she went door knocking in nearby villages and posted missing dog flyers for the hounds after seeing the video because she was concerned about their welfare in the sub-zero temperatures. On the morning of 18 March, I woke up to find it was snowing in Changchun. I was especially worried about 7 dogs, afraid that they hadn't eaten or drunk anything, so I borrowed a drone and set off to search for them, Tong Tong said in a video posted by the rescue center. On March 19th, it was reported that the dogs had found their way home. 3 of the dogs, including Dampong, belonged to a woman who lives in a village near Changchun. She told Chinese media that she had been looking for her dogs for 4 days and was on the point of giving up. When Dampong wandered into the house on March 18th, the owner then searched in nearby villages and found other dogs who had been taken by another villager. It's not clear why the dogs went missing. I've seen some false attitudes on the internet that they were stolen to be turned into dog meat, but there's no proof of that. That's just hearsay, right? They're just saying something sensationalist to get more clicks.
Yep.
I don't think that's
all the internet is, by the way.
Yeah.
Jackasses. It's all
making up stuff. So there's no proof they were stolen. You know, some netizens did raise concerns that they could have been kidnapped for dog meat, but there's no proof that's why they went missing. And that's also kind of racist. You know, Chinese dog, they must have been stolen to be eaten because Chinese people eat dogs.
If they eat dogs, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
However, some theorize they could have been stolen to be resold as pets for other purposes. That seems like way more of a money scheme than selling them for meat. Or maybe they just wandered off by themselves. They got lost. On March 21st, Jilin's Provincial Culture and Tourism Bureau said that the dogs had wandered off on their own accord, attracted by the German Shepherd who was in heat. Aha! It was Mother Nature the whole time. They're like, damn, that German Shepherd is hot. She's kind of hot, and she was like, come on, boys, this way, let's get lost. And it has been known to disappear for a few days at a time. Literally, yeah, that bitch is hot. State media warned that the incident reflects the shortcomings of online information dissemination. Exactly. A mixture of true and false information where subjective speculation is easily taken as fact and spread. Some netizens joke that the dog's adventure could be turned into a film or a real-life version of Paw Patrol, a Canadian cartoon for children about a boy and his pack of rescue dogs. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be very child-friendly. Boy, why are we all following around Stacy? Well, she's in heat, and I'm a horny dog, so we're all going to follow her around. And that's the movie. Watching this made me cry. Dogs are humans, friends forever, wrote one Weibo user. Weibo, of course, being a Chinese social media website. Additional research was done by Yu Shen Li, probably to make sure that we got the facts straight and they weren't being sold for meat, but one dog was on heat and they were chasing him around the entire province or 70 kilometers. I don't know where she took them, but I guess they had a fun time on their journey. Let animals be animals, eh? Yeah, they went shopping. All right, boys, you can buy me this. I really love this. I really love this chew toy, so I'm...
For every dog movie, the dog gets away from its owners and has an adventure.
I'm more curious if any of the dogs were Yeah, I wonder if any of the dogs were fixed. So, like, if that dog's gonna show up later with like puppies, I don't know.
I don't know if you can get in heat if you're fixed. You don't have ovaries, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. She was not fixed. That's why she was in heat.
Oh, she was.
Well, were the male dogs fixed?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The males can still dream on. Definitely, they can definitely dream on.
They might have not been fixed. I haven't seen an image of their balls hanging, so to say. So.
My mixed metaphor is just like the prodigal son. I'm sorry, just like the prodigal son. Every dog has his day.
Yep, exactly. And this time, I guess, 7 dogs had their day.
It's several days, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but they disappeared on the 15th, or they were seen on the 15th, something like that. So, at least a week of fun for those dogs. A little winter outing.
Yeah, dogs come back lay under the porch for a week because they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Well, my neighbor's dog disappeared for like a week.
I want to keep my. Yeah, exactly.
Our neighbors across the street have black lab, and black labs are notoriously to train. And
Yep.
this guy didn't bother training him. Anyway, he disappeared for about a week. They thought he was gone forever. He came back one day and just laid under the porch for a week. He was completely exhausted.
Finally got all the energy out of Black Lab. That's crazy.
He's out being a horror.
That's wild.
Apparently.
Yeah, supposedly. I wish I could say I'll keep my eyes on the story to see if this German Shepherd is going to have puppies one day and all this is going to be revealed. But I feel like the story will be a very local news story. Dogs that disappeared, give birth, you know?
Eventually got it. When I was in the Marine Corps, their dog got my mom's dog pregnant. You remember Randy, right? Randy had puppies, and Randy had a bunch of Black Lab collie mixed puppies. Anyway, long story.
Next segue is sarcasm for your stories.
Mining.com has one story, so this will be easy for you. Mining.com, Sasquatch Resources is the name of the company. Sasquatch Resources mines Mount Sicker waste rock to unlock gold and clean up legacy pollution. Yeah, we're searching for gold. We might as well clean up these mines. This is from Amanda Stutt, S-T-U-T-T, Amanda Stutt. I think that's how you pronounce it. All right, a junior mining explorer is betting that the future of resources extraction in British Columbia may lie not in digging new mines, but in cleaning up the past. Thousands of legacy mine sites across Canada and the U.S. predate modern environmental regulation, and many contain sulfide-bearing waste rock left exposed at the surface, material that now represents both an environmental liability and potential source of critical minerals. That's right, you've extracted a bunch of those minerals you might even actually need nowadays. They didn't need them 100 years ago. Sasquatch Resources is advancing a project, and their Canadian Stock Exchange symbol, in case you want to buy their stock, is SASQ, is advancing a project at the historic Mount Sicker mine on Vancouver Island that aims to recover valuable metals from century-old waste rock piles while simultaneously addressing long-standing environmental damage. The approach is successful and resulted in a new model of dealing with the province's thousands of legacy mine sites. Maybe I'll just take all my stock money and just invest it all in these guys, right? Take it off the New York Stock Exchange, put it in the Canadian Stock Exchange. I don't care about this stock exchange. Anyway, let's do this. The rest of the story. Mount Sicker, a great name for a mountain, Mount Sicker, which operated in the late 1890s to around 1910. I said 100. It's pretty accurate, huh? I was just guessing. It was mined at the time when cutoff grades were exceptionally high, around 8% copper. Like 8% copper. That's not, only 5%. They're not even going to finish mining it, right? Now you can extract things down to like 2%. Material that fell below this threshold was discarded in a waste pile, despite containing significant mineralization. Mount Sicker was a former copper-gold district on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, accumulated more than 300,000 tons, that's metric tons, of sulfide-bearing waste rock during the mining from 1897 to 1915. And there's a picture of it. As with every mining town, it looks like shit. It looks like a place you would go, oh my God, people live there? In 1897, and managed by, I'm sure it didn't live very long. Anyway, probably get all kinds of diseases from the extraction process. Discovered in 1897 and managed by Claremont Livingston, it peaked around 1905 as a top coastal producer before closing due to depletion. Yeah, everything played out, and they just left and took their shit and went home, didn't care about the environmental damage. Following a forest fire that revealed outcrops, prospectors Harry Smith and others staked the Lenora and later the Tyee claim, which is located higher up in the mountain according to historical records. The Tyee Copper Company of London, I don't know if that's London, Ontario, or London, it's probably London, Ontario, acquired the property in 1900. Underground development included a 1,250-foot main shaft by 1906. The site featured a 1,250-foot shaft and utilized a smelter in Ladysmith. Great name for a town, Ladysmith. What does a Ladysmith make? Right? An ironsmith makes things out of iron. What's a ladysmith make? Independent testing shows the raw waste rock scored 0.2 on the natural neutralization scale, indicating strong acid generation potential. Recent sampling also confirms the residual copper, gold, silver, and zinc remain in the surface piles. Just go big a pile of rocks and start beating them up with a pick and you can get gold? Oh my God. Where is this place? I should be there just smashing rocks. Modern sampling suggests his historic decisions left behind considerable value. According to the Sasquatch record, testing of waste rock returned average grades of roughly 2 grams per ton of gold. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? Along with other potentially recoverable elements. Those might be more valuable than gold. Platinum is. Rather than reopen, so is uranium, right? Rather than reopening the mine, the company is focused solely on processing these surface waste piles. Of course, uranium is not just in raw form in nature. It has to be refined. We didn't need to mine it at all, CEO Peter Smith told mining.com in an interview. We could take this low-hanging fruit, clean up the environment, get valuable material into the supply chain at the same time. Yeah, 2 for 1. We got a 2 for going. Cleaning up the rocks and making money. The environmental case for the project is as central as the economics. And like modern tailings facilities, the Mount Sticker waste rock was deposited without containment. Today, these piles continue to generate acidic runoff and leach contaminants into the surrounding ecosystem, Smith said. The site also presents physical hazards, including open mine shafts and up to 200 feet deep, remnants of an era before reclamation standards existed. Now, located just minutes from the town of Duncan, the area is frequented by hikers and mountain bikers in an otherwise forested landscape. The mine site remains starkly barren more than a century later. It is essentially a wasteland, Smith said. Nature hasn't been able to reclaim it in over 100 years. It's all toxic.
That's awful.
Toxicity. Nothing can live there, man. Microbes maybe can live there. To process the materials, Sasquatch plans, not Bigfoot, the company. It'd be nice if Sasquatch was there working the mines, right? Hey, look, there's a Sasquatch. He's rich. He's got golden chains. Sasquatch plans uses conventional ore sorting technology rather than the chemical intensive method. The process involves crushing the waste rock and passing it through a sorting system that uses density and X-ray fluorescence, or XRT, to separate sulfide-rich material from inert rock. From the estimated 300,000 tons of waste, the company expects to produce similar volume of higher grade concentrate while isolating clean material that can be safely returned to the site. The system operates as a closed loop and does not rely on chemical reagents, minimizing environmental impacts, Smith said. One of the biggest challenges of this project is regulatory. We'll finish the article real soon, I promise. Because Sasquatch is not proposing new mining, but is handling volumes of far larger than typical bulk sampling project. The project falls between existing permitting frameworks. Yeah, we don't need a permit to mine. We're not extracting rock. We're just taking the rocks that have already been extracted. It makes sense. The company is currently working with regulators to find an appropriate pathway, one that ensures environmental protection without imposing full burden of conventional mining permit. The outcome could have broader implications. With the estimated 2,000 legacy mines in British Columbia alone, a clear regulatory framework for remediation, focused resource recovery could unlock a new segment of the industry. Mount Sticker is just a starting point, Smith points out. Sasquatch has already identified additional nearby targets, including blue grouse mines, and similar opportunities are widespread across the province. These sites are everywhere. We could work on them for decades and not run out. By focusing on existing waste rather than extraction, the company believes it can offer faster, lower costs, and more environmentally responsible paths to supplying critical minerals. As governments and industry grapple with low security, how to secure critical mineral supply, projects like Mount Sticker represent a shift in how mines approach. So we want to be able to point at that mountain and say, we fixed that. And people will go, yeah, have another drink, Grandpa. Anyway, there's your story.
Have another drink, Grandpa.
That was my sarcasm. We fixed that mountain tree.
I mean, I'm so glad that we never found Sasquatch, because if we did, he wouldn't be out here fixing up all these abandoned mines, right? That's where he's been hiding. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been hiding from us because he's like, I have shit to do. I'm trying to clean up these mines.
Now he has his own reality show. There you go, Sasquatch.
full of,
That's my only
full of all
story.
those gold chains. Okay.
Not really Sasquatch. Sasquatch is the name of the company, and they are a publicly publicly traded company. So you want to buy stock, and I might suggest you buy it low. Buy low and hold on to it till you graduate from old people school. And you'll have a lot of money.
Hopefully, yeah. Our next segue is going to be a metaphor and similarly accurate one. Or you can re-roll.
All right. I don't want a metaphor. Let's re-roll. You just do a metaphor, even if it's accurate.
You don't need a re-roll, or you do want to re-roll?
Re-roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's a haiku.
Even though, okay, that's at least I can use my mind for that. I don't have to. Sometimes metaphors are tough. You gotta find existing
sometimes.
Ones. Yeah.
My next story is coming out of, specifically, I'm reading somebody. I can't even read where. I forget what this. Economic and Peace. Okay, so this the Economic and Peace. What are they called? There is a group. What I should look up what they actually are. Economic and Peace Organization. I need to look up who they actually are, but it's due for economics and peace. They have concluded their terrorism index for, I don't know, last year, something like that. And I don't know who they are. I need to about me or something about them. There you go. So they are, the IEP is, they love Global Peace and Economic Index. Yeah, we got that. That's the name of your thing. Established in 2007 by Steve Kalalia. They rely on the United Nations, the OECD, the Commonwealth Secretariat, the World Bank. So they have regional offices in New York, Brussels, The Hague, Mexico. So let's just say they're a charitable foundation that works at measuring how peaceful the world is and how economically established it is and stuff like that. Okay, so they put out a report, their annual report for the terrorism index. And we're going to read their abstract on that because I couldn't really find anybody who was going into what they said in it, right? I could only find, hey, news, the end. So this is coming out of London, UK, March 19th. Deaths from terrorism in the West surged by 280% in 2025, contrasting starkly against the global decline of 28%. Reveals the Global Terrorism Index, GTI. In the wake of the widening Iran conflict, the report warns that future trends in terrorism will be shaped by emerging conflicts, breakdown of international norms, and declining economic conditions. Here are the key findings they found in the Terrorism Index. Deaths from terrorism fell by 28% to 5,582, and incidents decreased by 22% to 2,944, marking the lowest figures since 2007. So that's the good news here. Globally, terrorism has reduced, the lowest it has been since 2007. Unfortunately, in contrast, Western terrorism fatalities rose by 280% to 57 in 2025, largely driven by anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and political terrorism. But you heard that correctly. 57 deaths. So if you have already a low amount of deaths to begin with from terrorism, if you increase from 7 to 57, that's not the correct amount of math. Let me get my calculator out. And I think I need to divide 57 divided by 2.8, I think. Yeah, so let's no, would that be 2.8? 280%? Yeah, that would be 2.8. So in previous years, only 20 people died from terrorism, but it increased to 57, so that's why it's saying it's like 280% or something. Maybe my math is completely wrong. That doesn't sound right either. But that's why the percent is so high. The percent is so high because they already had low numbers, whereas globally, 5,000 people died from terrorism, right? And that number went down to 2,000. So, Iran risks becoming another breeding ground for terrorist militias if it becomes a failed state. 6 of the 10 countries most impacted by terrorism are sub-Saharan Africa, maintaining its position as the epicenter of terrorism, sadly. For the first time, Pakistan leads the index as the country most impacted by terrorism, experiencing a sharp resurgence with 1,139 deaths and 10 1,045 incidents in 2025, its highest level since 2013. Youth radicalization fueled lone wolf attacks, with youth terrorism investigations rising threefold since 2021. Over the same period, 93% of all fatal attacks in the West were lone wolf attacks. 93% of all fatal terrorism in the West were lone wolf attacks, so not pushed by some narrative. Islamic State IS and its affiliates remain the deadliest terrorist organization, responsible for just under 17% of all attacks worldwide. Globally, deaths from terrorism reached their lowest level in a decade. That's the good news here. I know I'm talking about terrorism, but that is the good news here. It's possible to have lower deaths. However, this improvement may be short-lived. Many negative factors are converging in 26, including the escalation of conflicts in Iran and South Asia, deteriorating economic prospects in the West, and the rising use of drone technology by terrorist organizations. So what are we saying? Put more pressure on stopping stupid conflicts that just cause more terrorism. 7 of the 19 countries that deteriorated on the index were Western nations, and the conditions driving that trend, such as rapid radicalization of youth, political polarization, rising anti-Semitic violence, and the compression of online radicalization timelines, show no signs of abating. So we got to keep fighting against that shit. Stop radicalizing the youth. De-radicalize the youth. Recent polling indicates that public support for Israel is declining in several countries, while the Gaza war has coincided with increased concerns about anti-Semitism and heightened political polarization. The GTI is produced by international think tank, the Institute of Economics and Peace, that has been published annually for the last 13 years. It is the most comprehensive resource on global terrorism trends and uses multiple factors to calculate its score, including the number of incidences, fatalities, and injuries and hostages, before combining these with conflict and socioeconomic data to provide a holistic picture on terrorism. The underlying conditions that drive terrorism are worsening despite improvements seen in 2025, says Steve Kilelia, the founder and executive chairman of the IAP. Unless Iran can be stabilized quickly, it risks becoming a failed state and another breeding ground for terrorist militias. The lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan are clear. When states fragment and security vacuums emerge, terrorism groups quickly exploit that instability. Which, to be looking at it, it doesn't look like Iran is anywhere close to becoming a failed state, but maybe that's just the propaganda I'm reading. Terrorist activity along ungoverned international borders has increased substantially over the past 5 years, with Pakistan-Afghanistan conflict the most recent example. Viewed in totality, these trends point to one sobering conclusion. A fracturing world order risks erasing the hard-fought gains made against terrorism over the past decade. So don't give up on fighting against terrorism. Iran has deteriorated nearly 30 places on the GTI over the past decade, reflecting a steady increase in the impact of terrorism driven by separatist group on the Pakistan border area. The GTI data shows that while terrorism deaths in the Middle East and North Africa fell by 95% over the last 10 years, this progress remains fragile and contingent on regional stability. We didn't solve it yet. The Iraqi government faces the prospect of being drawn into the conflict in Iran, balancing its reliance, keeping the militias at one side while responding to U.S. pressure, and avoiding U.S. military strikes will be difficult. Yeah, they might get peppered sprayed by an accidental drone strike or something. A sustained exchange between militias and U.S. forces would divert Iraqi security resources, complicate international support, fragment territorial control, and create local vacuums that could be exploited by IS or other militia loyal to Iran. Terrorism in the Western nations is increasingly driven by youth radicalization and lone wolf actors. Children and adolescents accounted for 42% of all terror-related investigations in Europe and North America in 25, a threefold increase since 21. The average radicalization timelines had compressed from 16 months in 2022 to a few months today. So before, it used to take 16 months to radicalize somebody to do something. Now it only takes a few months. Driven by algorithmic amplification and the exploitation of development vulnerabilities, Europe and the US need to put pressure on social media, right, to stop these things from happening, to block people from spreading this radicalization material. Adding to the difficulty of detection, lone wolf actors carried out 93% of fatal terrorist attacks in the West over the last 5 years and remain 3 times more likely to be successfully execute an attack than groups, because you put less of a spotlight on yourself. Pakistan has for the first time emerged as the country most impacted by terrorism, recording 11,039 deaths. We talked about that already. Border proximity is a defining feature of modern terrorism, with the GTI finding that terrorism in these areas has more than doubled over the past 15 years. Over 76% of attacks occurred within 100 kilometers of the international border. The Sahel region in sub-Saharan Africa continues to be strongly impacted by terrorism. Although the deaths fell in 2025, the region still accounts for over half of terrorism-related deaths globally. Violence has been spread beyond the central Sahel traditional hotspots, with Jenim launching coordinated strikes in western Mali and IS claiming its first attacks in Niger's southern Dosa region. Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo recorded the largest increases in deaths from terrorism, with deaths rising by 46% and 28% respectively. Nigeria's death surge in the northwest of the country amidst growing political instability related to Boko Haram, whilst the DRC, IS-linked forces carried out several large-scale attacks along the country's eastern border. IS's largest increase in impact occurred in Niger, with deaths caused by a group nearly quadrupling. Motivations for joining terrorist groups in sub-Saharan Africa contrast sharply with the West. For 71% of recruits, the final catalyst for joining was human rights abuses by the state. That's right. People need to put pressures on states to treat their people properly, and then you won't get this problem. Economic factors are also critical, with a quarter of voluntary recruits citing total lack of job opportunities as their primary motivation for joining. In regions with weak governance, armed groups exploit the vacuum of offering tangible benefits such as salaries to young people without legitimate employment prospects. So that's what this GTI is for. It's not just to make us all depressed at terrorism and stuff, but to track what's causing it and to look for solutions in which to do it. So that's I know it's hard to spin this positively, but that is the positive spin. There is some work that is being done. The fact that it was able to go down in the last 10 years means that it is possible to make it go down, and that the work still continues to keep global terrorism low, and to find ways to get these people who are making the decision to become terrorists, give them jobs, make the government do their fucking job, and give them the support they need so that they can live in economic peace and prosperity. Is that so much to ask for? No, it isn't.
I have a non sequitur to do with this, but my haiku is, cuts to the chase, which is, here's my haiku. Semantics question. Does bombing girls' schools count? That's my second line. War equals terror. So if you're telling me terrorism has gone down as we're bombing civilians on a daily basis, I'm going to call this whole story with bullshit. Because
you don't understand. This is from last year, so it's not going to include anything happening this year.
Last year in America, 110 people in the United States were shot. Not all of them were terrorist attacks, but a lot of them were. 110 people per day were gunshot victims in the United States.
If you were listening, I did say that the Western Terrorism Index did increase. So your point is invalid.
I'm still talking. They do not count the government kicking in doors without warrants. They're not counting that as a terrorist attack, which is.
I don't know if they're not doing that because I didn't read the whole study. This is just the abstract.
I'm saying, what I'm saying is when they say terrorism is down, I have no evidence to support.
They're saying it's globally down. It's globally down. It's not. It's not down in the West. It's not down in the West. So what you're talking about is reinforcing the thing that they already said, which is that it is up in the West by 280%. So what you just said is supported by the study.
Down is also semantics. It's still semantics. When we bomb a country, is that terrorism? I think the people getting bombed think it's terrorism. And we did bomb people last year, by the way. It wasn't just this year. So,
but this is specifically about...
We threatened Greenland openly.
Yet again, this is supposed to be Good News Tuesday, not cynical asshole Tuesday. So I understand that you want to call it bullshit, but
I don't check my brain at the door because it's Good News Tuesday. Okay, spin the wheel unless you got a story.
I have another story.
Okay.
our next story is about anti-consumer practices. Now, anybody who's been buying Nintendo consoles probably knows that they are not very easy to repair. And in some cases, because you can't repair them, you just have to buy a new one. Yay! There's another 300 euros down the drain or whatever. But John Walker here on Kotaku was reporting that thanks to EU law coming in force next year, Nintendo could be forced to shed one of its biggest anti-consumer practices. In 2023, the European Union passed a ruling that from February 27 on, portable electronics devices will be required to have replaceable batteries, as in you have to be able to open up the case, take the battery out, and put another one in. If you look at your phone, if you look at your Switch, if you look at a lot of things you own right now, they are in a closed case position, right? You have to take the whole thing apart to replace the battery, and then your warranty gets voided and, they don't care. Or you have to buy a new one. In an effort to counter planned obsolescence of modern tech, the law means if you want to sell electronics to the EU, you have to let consumers switch out the battery. And that means the Switch 2 would be a spot of bother come this time next year. However, a report from a Japanese site, Nikkei, said via Nintendo Everything suggests that Nintendo has plans to release a new version of the portable console that complies with this requirement. This is part of the rights to repair movement that has been gaining steam in Europe over the last 5 years, and the legislation is a big step forward for that. It does sadly not include mobile phones and tablets, but it will catch Nintendo's brand new hybrid console in its net. Hence the reporting from Nikkei that via machine translation, the company will modify the console specifications to allow consumers to easily replace the battery. The site adds that something similar could then spread to both Japan and the United States if consumer awareness of the right to repair increases. So if you're living in the US or Japan or anywhere else, put some pressure on the government to say, hey, why the hell do I have to buy a new phone to replace the battery? That's fucked up. This won't just affect the Switch 2 itself, however, but also Joy-Cons as well, meaning batteries that have been worn down by constant repeating charging or damaged by being charged without being depleted would no longer be something players just have to put up with. Everyone's very used to this, right? When your devices just don't seem to long as last they used to. That's because your battery's dead. But everyone's been grudgingly accepting it because they can't. What do you want me to do? Buy a new one? I don't want to spend that money. The EU plan is to end such thinking and make sure anyone can replace the battery at any time. The specifications of the legislation say that it must be a simple process and that the devices are not allowed to use software that intervenes with the process. As in, it's not going to brick your console because you opened up the case, right? That's an idea. Oh, wow. You open up the case to replace the battery? Well, now the console's broken. Another massive advantage of this new rule is that it means you can just carry a replacement battery for devices wherever you go. And indeed, better versions from third-party companies. That's a good point. This also creates more jobs, more battery factories to make these batteries, more people to sell these batteries. It's not just Nintendo branded battery. You can only buy these. Like, nope, that's illegal too. That's anti-consumer as well. You have to allow 5 other companies to make batteries for your Switch so you can replace the batteries in them, for example, right?
Yeah. And you got to get money to start ups if you want it to happen too.
Everyone can remember a time in which they were at least carrying one spare battery for their Nintendo DS or their Game Boy, easily swapped in on a long flight and buying a better, albeit bulkier, battery for early mobile phones to replace that crappy ones they're shipped with. Perhaps charging blocks may have made this less of a necessity today, but it's still a way up from 0 to 100% battery in an instant. While the legislation only applies in the EU, it's very possible that Nintendo could extend the option elsewhere, or people are just going to buy EU consoles. That's what I would do, right? Hey, can you buy me the console in the EU and then just ship it over? It is, after all, a lot cheaper to only manufacture one model of a device. And given the EU version is enforced, it could make sense to move over to that model entirely. So there's your good news for console gamers, and this is why I haven't bought a Switch yet. One, because it's too expensive. I'm waiting for them to release the OLED version so that I can buy the non-OLED version for cheaper. That's what I'm waiting for, because I don't need an OLED screen on my fucking Switch. It's docked most of the time. I'm not taking it anywhere. Where am I going? But I know they're gonna do it, right? They did it with the Switch 1 as well. They released an OLED version, and then the normal, shitty LED screen version dropped half price. Because we gotta get this shiny screen. Yeah.
Yeah, haiku. Haiku time?
Yep. Give me your haiku.
Here's my haiku. Planned obsolescence.
Mm-hmm.
It's what drives capitalism. Durable goods fail. And as for economic definition of durable goods is something that lasts more than 3 years, I'm like, I'm sorry, not durable goods. Like, when you're defining durable goods, I think of things like a refrigerator, a car. Right?
Yeah. Washing machines.
Major washer and dryer.
Yeah.
And their definition, the economic definition of durable goods is 3 years. So a phone will qualify as durable goods. It's not durable goods. Because first of all, the battery wears out immediately. The minute you charge that battery the first time, every successive charge is weaker. And with lithium batteries, they're not like your car battery where it fails a little at a time, It fails all at once. No charge, nothing. It ain't gonna do anything. Completely wiped out, nothing's happening. You can sit there and charge it till the end of time and nothing's gonna happen. Anyway, that's your extended comment on why they do this. They do this.
Yeah.
You can't replace the batteries. Why? Because they want to make more money selling you a whole new device. It's just complete
messed up.
This should be illegal.
It is. Well, that's what they're trying to do, right? That's what they've been saying for 5 years, right? The people in the EU have been saying for 5 years, what the fuck? I have to buy a whole new device because my battery died? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. We need to change this now.
Imagine if you had a car. Imagine if your car was like that, right? My battery died, I got a new car. I got a flat tire, I got a new car. All right?
Messed up. So good news for consumers in the EU and hopefully everywhere else because they're probably just going to make a new version where you can pop the battery out.
Anyway, these are the greediest. These cell phone companies are the greediest bastards on the planet. I don't think there's anybody. They're just greedy. Just greedy. They don't care about your environment and they care about shit. They just make money. Money. We'll sell you a phone and next year it'll be worth $100. We're going to sell it for you $2,000 this year. 6 months from now, it's going to be obsolete. Criminals.
Our next segue is bad pun, so take me to your story. Also, did you send me any videos? Yeah, you did. Okay, I got it.
I did send you a video. Yeah. Because it's two things today, and there you go. Two things that video has to do with. Our pharmaceutical company news. And what'd you spend? You spun the what?
Bad pun.
A bad pun? Let me write it down before I forget. Because I got to remember these. One of these days I'm going to use this list. This is from news.mangabay.com. Pharmaceutical companies move away from horseshoe crabs biomedical testing. This is from David Brown, author. Horseshoe crabs were crawling around the shallow sandy bottoms of Earth's ocean 200 million years ago. I'm sorry, 200 years before the first dinosaurs came to the scene, but some populations have declined dramatically with the rise of humans, raising concerns that they may be headed toward extinction. One of the biggest drivers of their population collapse is their unsustainable harvest of their blood. One of the biggest drivers for their population collapse is their unsustainable harvest for their blood to be used in pharmaceuticals. Now, two major pharmaceutical companies, Armgen Inc. and Abbott Laboratories, have publicly announced they will shift towards synthetic blood instead. The copper-based blood of horseshoe crabs contains an extract called Imulus amebocyte lysate, or LAL, that can help detect bacterial endotoxin contaminations in vaccines, injectable drugs, and many other pharmaceutical products. To maintain the safety of those drugs, thousands of horseshoe crabs are captured from the wild annually for their blood. The animals, which are most closely related to spiders than to crabs, are returned to the sea after their blood has been drawn, but many don't survive the ordeal. Coastal development and brain
terrible.
Degradation are also taking their toll. Synthetic replacements for LAL were developed in 2016, but not widely adopted by pharmaceutical companies until now. Amgen and Abbott Laboratories announced in February 2026 that they're transitioning away from horseshoe crab blood for biomedical testing. Kendall Van Dyke is a biodiversity associate with As You Sow, a nonprofit that promotes corporate responsibility. She told Monday that in an email that the pharmaceutical industry was slow to move away from harvesting horseshoe crabs because endotoxin testing is highly regulated. Pharmaceutical manufacturers have been inclined to follow known methods even when there's an opportunity to innovate. Van Dyke noted that there is no fixed end date for either company to completely cease horseshoe crab derived testing, nor is an independent third party monitoring the program. Still, conservationists welcome the pharmaceutical company's announcement. Atlantic horseshoe crabs, which their Latin name is Limulus polyphemus, which are the most targeted species for their blood, lay massive amounts of eggs that fuel migrating shorebirds along feed migrating shorebirds along the Atlantic coast of North America. In an interview with the New Jersey Spotlight News last year, David Mazzari, Vice President Research and Monitoring New Jersey Chapter of Bird Conservation for the wildlife nonprofit Audubon, said the shift towards synthetic blood will save thousands of horseshoe crabs a year, protecting shorebirds and coastal ecosystems while also providing supply chain sustainability, ensuring patient safety. It is a powerful, responsible step forward for all concerned. So there you go, saving wildlife while also protecting people, which they could have been doing for 10 years now. But hey, progress is
unfortunately always, you had to enforce it by another person, a nonprofit.
Yeah, 5 steps forward, 4 steps back. Every time we try to fix something, some asshole comes along and goes, hey, what about my problem? I need to make money. Anyway, let's have a fun little pun about crabs or horseshoes or anything.
Finally, they're not going to be waking up crabby in the morning.
Ow! Where's all my blood? They're actually, I guess, arachnids, right? They're arachnids. They're not actually crabs. They're not crustaceans. They're arachnids.
You have a lot of legs, yeah.
8 legs.
Swimming spiders.
Yeah. And they move in.
Is that on your story? You have another one?
Yes, one more. We're going to talk about chairs.
Chair chair story, yeah.
Newatlas.com. Viral inventor creates a storage chair, which I've had a storage chair my whole life. So I don't know if it's an invention. But anyway, they perfected it. Let's put it that way. They patented it. Viral inventor creates a storage chair for your half-dirty clothes. This is from Marina Holovnova. Marina Holovnova from newatlas.com. Do you know the feeling of coming home exhausted after a long day work? What?
Is it not Marina?
Maryna. Marina. That's what's Marina.
Yeah.
Great spelling. Anyway, she's probably Russian or Slavic. Her name is Holovnova, right? Do you know that feeling of coming home exhausted for a long day at work, and the last thing you want to do is neatly fold your clothes? So instead, they just pile up in a chair. And even though a lot of people might be embarrassed to admit it, let's be honest, most of us do this, and actually it might not be as bad a habit as it seems at first. Sorry. Cough. Didn't hit the cough button in that time. A shirt or a pair of pants you've only worn once doesn't necessarily need to be washed right away. Hello, Marine Corps. I wore the same pants and the same, all right? But in the Marine Corps, I had I had like coveralls at work, so I had my uniform didn't get dirty.
Yeah.
I just put wow.
I mean, some people will be like, oh, but you sweat in it or whatever, and it's just like, whatever.
No. I took, you get a locker at work, because I worked on a ramp. I worked on an Amtrak ramp. So I had to put in a fireproof suit is what I wore. It was on a ramp. So it was one zipper, onesie, and you zip it up. I still got it somewhere around here. Probably doesn't fit me anymore, but still got it. I sure do. Yeah, they tell you to take it with you when you leave. We don't want your old. We don't. It's called a Nomex suit, by the way. Nomex. Anyway, a shirt or pair of pants you've only worn once doesn't necessarily need to be washed right away. When you leave it hung up on a chair instead of folding it, it can air out, freshen up, and even get fewer wrinkles. It's called dry cleaning, right? The old Mitch Hedberg joke. This shirt here is dry clean only, which means it's dirty. Hey, I'm not paying for dry cleaning for a shirt. Are you kidding me? Anyway, that's my terrible Mitch Hedberg impersonation. The only problem with this approach, clothes can quickly pile up like a mountain and you can't even see your chair underneath it, let alone sit on it. Enter Simone Geertz. Came up with a solution. Yeah, the laundry chair, which serves as a chair and clothing storage at the same time, currently available for backing on Kickstarter. So you can send her some money to make sure she can, get her supplies going, hire workers. And, when you make those chairs that got a curve in them, you got to have curved wood. That's not easy to make. Simone is an inventor and YouTuber from Sweden, famous as Queen of the Shitty Robots. She taught her Queen of the Shitty Robots. Wow. She taught herself to create robots, and her first prototypes were comically impractical. A wake-up machine that would slap your face in the morning. See, there's a link to it. And a breakfast machine that spills food instead of feeding you. Simone filmed these experiments, and they went viral with millions of viewers on YouTube. So
probably seen
her
these
out.
videos too myself. Sounds like something I'd have watched.
At some point, the wake-up machine take 2 is the heading on this next section. At some point, the joke played out, so she switched to making household products that are actually useful to solve day-to-day problems, still in her signature humorous way. Previously, Simone successfully launched a foldable hanger for clothes and a digital wall calendar for tracking daily habits.
No, I've seen the foldable
Both
hanger.
via
Yeah, I've definitely
Kickstarter.
seen her videos. Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
The laundry chair features a movable rail, so instead of forming a pile, clothes go around the chair. The rail is mounted on a smooth ball-bearing Lazy Susan mechanism. Lazy Susan just spins around.
Yep.
Nothing gets you personally, Susan. So you can rotate it, hide the clothes behind the chair, and still be able to sit. Okay. You can still sit on your chair if it's full of clothes, too. You just end up sitting on your clothes. I understand. The rail can fit at least 10 items of clothing. I mean, you don't sit directly on them. You're on the back, right? You just lean against them, which is, you can form wrinkles or you can press wrinkles, depending on your mood, right? The product measures 92.3 by 92 by 93 centimeters, which is 36 by 36 by 36, and weighs 20 kilograms or 45 pounds. It is durable, hardwood frame. It is removable cotton corduroy cover with a zipper for easy washing. Because, I hate trying to clean chairs, cushions that don't have zippers on them. Why would you do that? It ships disassembled in a compact box, and assembly is promised to be straightforward. Oh, she's from Sweden, not where's the IKEA from? Is that from Sweden or is it Norway?
That is Sweden. You're completely correct.
It is Sweden. Oh, okay. Yeah, so she's from IKEA.
You're right on the dot there.
I guarantee she must have been an engineer. I bet you she was an engineer for them.
I hope she's getting paid
I don't know, maybe.
somewhere, and she's hired by someone somewhere.
She's getting Kickstarters. She's got Kickstarters going. She's like, I don't even have to have a business. I got a Kickstarter. The price tag is $879 for early backers, while the retail price is $1,000. Early backers are the people that did a Kickstarter account and they kicked in some money for the start, and they get a discount of roughly $300 or $200. Doesn't seem like a lot anyway. While the retail price is $1,100. Call it a clever design or luxury, but this chair keeps your room tidy and essentially serves as 2 pieces of furniture in one. It might just be worth it. If the Kickstarter goes as planned, shipping will begin in November. So she's not in full production yet. That's what the Kickstarter's for. You got to hire people. I'm sure it takes time. It's a round chair, and the arm, you'd probably link to a picture of it somewhere, but it's got an arm here for your arms, and it's got another arm that goes around the back, right? And it's completely round. So I imagine bending wood, you got to get it moist, and you got to have it in degrees. I don't know how that works, but I know you got to bend wood to make it. And there's your story.
Sounds good. Okay.
Fun about chairs. She's
Kind of
the
wish
chairman
Lazy
of that company.
Susan had in there, but my puns are about laundry.
Okay.
I told my laundry a joke. Now it's in stitches.
More? Get more?
Why was the laundry basket feeling depressed?
Oh.
Too much pressure from the pile. you hear about the jeans that went to college?
Jeans went to college. That's impossible.
They got
No, I didn't
washed
hear that.
out. Don't worry, they didn't graduate. They got washed out.
That one. That's just one. Okay, you any more?
I mean, yeah, clothes are just like friends. Some stick,
What's that?
some fade.
Uh,
Your sticky clothes.
don't forget, I thought you were have more chair puns, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I wish I knew
least
about the
you-
Lazy Susan thing. I would have told jokes about chairs. Yeah.
Can't wait for her to incorporate so she can name a chairman. Or she can be the chairman or the chairperson. But
Okay, let's go to our culture news.
and it's requisite with all puns that you do this. Yeah, you got to do this after every pun, anticipating a laugh, right? You got to you got to wide eyes and smile.
Aha!
Like that, right?
That's me when I take a picture. That's probably why I don't do it naturally, because that's how I take pictures. Our next
not a
segue
forced
reminds
style.
me of a song for my culture news here.
Song for the culture, right? Dan, I got to
We're gonna
sing
be-
now.
We're going to be talking about new ways in which they're restoring paintings. This is from Lucy Mangan on... Oh, sorry, that's the wrong article. Where'd my article go? Ah, here it is. This
You want
is
a song
from
now? Okay.
Anushka Roy on Euronews Culture. From an AI-generated mask that can restore 15th century painting in 3 hours to scientists developing eco-friendly cleaning gels from renewable materials, a new wave of technology is saving masterpieces. An art gallery or museum's collection often extends well beyond its public exhibits, reaching into storage facilities and workshops where damaged pieces are carefully mended and preserved. Art conservation and restoration are intensive, detailed processes requiring an interdisciplinary understanding of art history, chemistry, physics, and conservation science. From using infrared imaging to identify losses of paint hidden below a painting's surface, to choosing solvents that can remove layers of oxidized varnish without damaging the artwork underneath, art restoration and conservation demand precision. Even well-resourced institutions like the Louvre and the Met dedicate entire departments to it. Now new developments in artificial intelligence and the chemistry promise to make the work faster, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly. What if artificial intelligence could restore a painting in a few hours? A new method analyzes a damaged painting, creates a digitally restored copy, and prints this onto an extremely thin polymer film, which serves as a laminate mask. The mask can be then placed over the painting and even be removed later, retaining the original piece. This method was tested on a highly damaged 15th century oil painting, according to an article published in Nature. Over 57,000 hues were restored in just over 3 hours. This approach is said to be about 66 times faster than conventional in painting and probably reduces hand strain too. The method was developed by Alex Kachinkine, a graduate researcher at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, last June. The new method may also fill a gap between ethical concerns and art restoration practices. According to Hartmut Kutzke, professor and chemist at the University of Oslo's Museum of Cultural History, modern conservation ethics is skeptical of heavy-handed retouching of damaged pieces, arguing that it alters a piece's context and meaning, according to Kutzke. These standards also require that, if retouching is necessary, the changes should be reversible. Kachinkine's removable laminate mask allows for this reversibility. He points out that this method also allows for changes to be closely documented and revised later in time, because it becomes a file you can just print out. Because there is a digital record of what mask was used, in 100 years, the next time someone is working with this, they'll have an extremely clear understanding of what was done to the painting, Kine told MIT News. While this innovation may shave down the time and resources needed to restore an artwork, it still requires consultation with conservators and art historians who understand the piece's origins, according to Kine. Researchers are developing conservation methods from renewable and recycled sources as well, offering greener alternatives to harmful chemicals traditionally used in the field. The Green Art Project, a research collaboration developing eco-friendly solutions for the conservation and restoration of cultural artifacts, received a 3-year EU-funded grant until 2025. Among a range of products that have been produced by the collaboration, researchers have developed innovative cleaning gels and protective coatings that can be used in art conservation. A group of cleaning gels called twin-chain polyvinyl alcohol hydrogels was developed by Green Art researchers, a project funded by the European Union to make them more sustainable. These gels, made from polyvinyl alcohol (PVA) polymers, feature a sponge-like porous structure that allows for a more controlled and faster cleaning of dirt and age coatings on paintings. Parts of the PVA polymer are decorated, according to the researchers, with non-toxic synthetic and bio-based polymers, making the cleaning gels more sustainable. Over the last years, London Tate's Britain has sustainable hydrogels developed by Green Art to safely clean two of the British artist Bridget Riley paintings, Fall 1963 and Hesitate 1964. The latter was cleaned for the first time in February. Beijing-based researchers are also finding new chemical approaches to cultural heritage conservation. A review published in Nature in January suggests that cellulose derivatives, particularly cellulose ethers and nanocelluloses, can be used to treat aged paper artifacts due to their adhesive qualities. Right, it's very hard to clean paper. You get some liquid on that and it stains it or warps it, you know? These derivatives can also provide coating conservation for oil paintings and textiles. Crucially, they are renewable and low toxicity, furthering the green requirement of heritage conservation, according to researchers. The review also notes that the potential use of cellulose derivatives from the reinforcement and restoration of pottery, porcelain, and murals too. Wow, so many different uses. While existing research largely explores paper and wood artifacts, the adhesive properties of cellulose adhesives and the reinforcing effect of nanocellulose can help precisely repair cracks in pottery. For murals, nanocellulose can be used to develop water-resistant and breathable coatings, the researchers say. For interdisciplinary practice such as art restoration and conservation, scientific innovations like these can be crucial as conservation tackle new challenges posed by climate change and evolving technology landscape. So there's your good news coming out of art restoration. We can make paintings look better and bigger and brighter than they used to, and also save them in the future from any more disrepair. Very cool.
All right. Song it reminds me of is, with no surprise, Bob Dylan. When I Paint My Masterpiece, which I think I quoted a couple of weeks ago because it's about Rome, like he was looking at old paintings. And he had a date with Botticelli's niece, and he was going to paint his masterpiece. Oh. Which, yeah, masterpiece rhymes with niece. There you go. I was looking at songs about art because the first one I thought of was Vincent by Don McLean.
Yeah.
Like, how many songs are actually about painters and art? And I found this one. It says 45 songs about art, and I clicked on it. The number one song is Vincent by Don McLean, and the number 3 song is Starry Starry Night by Don McLean. They're the same song.
Two of the songs, about the same thing. Yeah,
exactly the same song. What you gave it the subtitle. The title is Vincent, and the parentheses part is Starry Starry Night. Anyway,
yeah, same song. That's so funny. That's probably an AI list.
Hey guys.
A lot of these lists are AI lists. It just takes data from the internet and then puts it in a list form. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks so officially compiled.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably just people over the internet don't know the name. I don't know the names of a lot of songs. Yeah, right.
Yeah, usually you know like the chorus or the hook.
Wasteland.
Exactly. Yeah.
Play that.
Bob O'Reilly. Who the fuck is that? Yeah. Who the hell is Bob?
Teenage Wasteland. They're all wasted. Don't you? That song. Play that one. Not Bob O'Reilly. I want Teenage Wasteland. Damn it.
All right, let's roll our segue for our
Anyway,
day in history.
I find humor in the funniest and the weirdest places. I just think not only is Vincent the number one song about artists, it's also the number 3 song, right? They get that many votes, right? Or whatever. I just it's got. You want to talk
I'm
about
gonna roll again because I got sarcasm again.
I haven't had sarcasm today. You have though.
It's for me, so yeah. Why I mean I have to roll.
Oh,
again.
okay.
I'll do some haikus for this day in history. We talk so much between the stories, we forget whose story we just covered. That's that's so funny.
Yeah, well, I talk too much.
Oh, it's good. It's a podcast. We're supposed to talk.
It's like the football, like the college football polls. They voted Alabama number 1. They also voted them the Crimson Tide number 3. I was like, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same people. Oh. They're so good. They're number 1 and number 3. Anyway, screw the rest of those teams. All right, let's have us this day in history. There's a lot of repetition today. Like I do the bottom and they're just repeated at the top. Did you know on this day, King James VI became King James I as he succeeded Elizabeth I in the throne of England, Scotland, and Ireland, uniting the entire ridiculous kingdom in one big landmass for a little while. 1874, I believe he was also the king of Holland or something at some point. I'm not even sure.
No, not James
1874.
That was a different guy.
Yeah, but there was like some land holding they also possessed. I'm not sure. It's historic. It doesn't exist it's just part of the main land mass in Europe.
The 7 provinces of the Netherlands, yes, back then. Which is not most today. It's only 7 of them. Yeah. No, that's exactly why, because of France. He was like he got it from France to begin with. That's why he even had ownership over the Netherlands, because he got it from France.
Yeah, back in the day, it used to be the English hobby was to start a war with France. They just did it. Every time there's no king, they said, what can we do? Oh yeah, war with France. 1874, American musician Harry Houdini was born. Happy birthday. He's born Appleton, Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. He's a Wisconsin boy. Earned an international reputation for his daring feats of self-extraction from shackles and locked containers. He was born this day in 1874. He was punched in the stomach and died from internal bleeding because he used to charge people money to punch him in the stomach, but some guy punched him in the stomach when he wasn't ready for it, and he should have been charged with murder. I don't know if he was.
Maybe he was.
1887 American. Oh, okay, that's terrible, man. Hell of a way to die too. This is painful, right? Internal bleeding. 1887, American comedian and director Fatty Arbuckle was born. His successful career was halted by the first of the major Hollywood scandals. There was a lot of debauchery in Hollywood in the 20s, and this guy was part of it. He wasn't the only one, but his career was ended in the silent movie era because somebody got raped at one of his parties. 1905, pioneering French science fiction author Jules Verne, who wrote Around the World in 80 Days, Phineas Fogg, and so forth, died in Amiens, France, 1905. So he's been dead for a while. Amiens. In 1944, this is the subject of our mic drop. More than 75 Allied prisoners undertook a daring escape from the POW camp in Sagan, Germany. Though most were eventually recaptured and inspired the classic World War II movie, The Great Escape, in 1963, starring Steve McQueen. Of course, the prison camp, this was a prison camp close to Berlin, by the way. And the reason they were in this prison camp is because these guys, every one of them had already escaped once from one of the German prison camps. So this was a prison camp already full of people that had escaped from other camps. And they all escaped from this one, too. At least 75 of them did.
That's so funny. Put in the high security camp and they still escaped.
Right. Yeah, the movie is one
losers.
Of your great. I mean, James Garner's in it. You know, it's just Steve McQueen, of course. A bunch of other actors. I can't think of their names right now. I think Lee Marvin. I'm not exactly sure who's all in it. I remember brain fart on The Great Escape. Last time I saw it was about 5 years ago. 1945, with the debut of Billboard magazine pop album chart, American pianist and Nat King Cole Trio became the first record album to appear at #1 and simultaneously becoming the first African-American artist hit #1 because he was the first one, right? There you go.
Yeah, nice.
First and only he was. I think for a week, he was the first and only #1 album. Way to go, Nat King Cole. 1976, Peyton Manning was born. If you know what Peyton Manning is, a football player. His dad is Archie Manning.
American football.
Born into football. Right, American football. He was born into football. His brother is also in the Hall of Fame. Both brothers. Well, actually, I don't think Eli's in the Hall of Fame yet. He might be this year, but he'll probably end up there. He won They both won 2 Super Bowls. So, brothers that won 2 Super Bowls. Their dad was a MVP in the league on a bad team, and their brother Cooper Manning, who never made it as a quarterback, never made it as a wide receiver, but his son is currently the starting quarterback at Texas. So, in Austin, University of Texas, the Longhorns. So, yeah, the Manning family. Happy birthday to Peyton Manning, turning 50, you old bastard. 1980, vocal critic of violence during the El Salvador's civil conflict, Archbishop Oscar Romero was assassinated by celebrating Mass in San Salvador. He was canonized in 2018. Hey, you shooting somebody. That's just cowardly. Shooting somebody, it's just a coward's thing to do. Unless you're at war and they're shooting at you. 1989, the oil tanker Exxon Valdez ran aground, spilling some 11 million gallons or 41 million liters of oil into Prince William Sound of Alaska and creating the largest oil spill in the U.S. history up to that time. Oh boy, don't tell me we've broken that record now. 1999, a fire began at Mont Blanc Tunnel, a major alpine automotive tunnel connecting France and Italy. It took 2 days to put out the blaze, and 79 people were killed. If you are in a tunnel and there's a fire, try to figure out which direction the smoke is going and go the opposite direction. There's your hint. There's not going to be any oxygen where that smoke is going. It's going to be gone. It's going to be all eaten up by carbon. Anyway, there'll be oxygen. It'll be attached to carbon. Anyway, 2002, film stars Denzel Washington and Halle Berry became the second and third African Americans to win Academy Awards for performances in leading roles. I'm guessing Denzel was the second and Halle Berry was the third. Not sure. One or the other. Right? I guess it depends on what order they presented the awards that night.
Yeah,
2008, Bhutan held elections for the National Assembly, thereby completing the country's transition to a democracy. Bhutan. Way to go, Bhutan. I hope they're still working on that. 2016, Serbian politician Radovan Karadzic was found guilty of committing war crimes, including genocide, during the civil war that followed Bosnia and Herzegovina's split from Yugoslavia in 1992. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. No word on if he's going to serve those 40 years or if he's already dead. I'm not even sure. This happened 10 years ago. Not sure the legal system works in, I guess, Bosnia. Our feature biography is a long one. This guy here, his name is Robert Koch, or Koch. I say Koch. Introduces germ theory. On this day, Robert Koch gave a lecture at Berlin Physiological Society to reduce the basis of germ theory, announced that he had discovered the bacterium that caused tuberculosis, a disease responsible for 1 in 7 deaths across Europe. In the U.S., this meant Koch had upended the 2 prevailing theories of the time: spontaneous generation, which is just some shit somebody made up, and miasmatic theory. I don't know what the hell that is. During the meeting, Koch showed dyed tissue samples of bacteria he had grown, and he published findings. A few weeks later, his work plays an important role in this day in identifying microorganisms and linked with diseases. Very important.
Miasmatic theory is the idea that your bad vibe is giving you diseases.
Yes.
It's bad vibes. That's
bad
what you're saying.
Vibes definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I will not.
But it doesn't give you a disease. Thanks to this guy, we know.
Underestimate bad vibes. All right. But it's not going to give. It is not going to give you tuberculosis. You're not going to get diphtheria and cholera from bad vibes. You're going to get dirty drinking water. shit that lives in the dirty drinking water. And this is why this was very important. In 1882, we started living in the modern age of sanitation. Thank you very much. Sanitation.
Yeah, wash your
took
hands.
hold starting on this day, 1882. Thank you, Robert Koch, for sanitation. Even though maybe he didn't know it was going to lead to it, but hey, saved a lot of lives. He knew he did that, right? Our feature biography is Elizabeth I. She died on this day. I think, yeah, she died March 24th, 1603. And right away, James I, who was just a baby, by the way, just a little baby, became king. And of course, the call went out throughout the land. The king has lost his binky. Somebody find the king's binky. I'll never stop making that joke. September 7th, 1533 was her birthday. She was born in Greenwich, died probably in a palace in Richmond. If there was a palace in Richmond. Is there a palace in Richmond? That's where she died. Maybe she was just taking a stroll down by the Thames and died. I don't know. Our feature biographies, our feature birthdays, we already did a bunch of these. Harry Houdini, Roscoe Arbuckle, also known as Fatty Arbuckle. He was born in 1887. We didn't care. Steve McQueen, we were talking about The Great Escape. The Great Escape happened on this day in 1944 on Steve McQueen's 14th birthday, and he was in the movie. Hello? You want to talk about kismet and coincidence or whatever? It's also the birthday of Steve Ballmer, who I believe is the head guy at Nike or someplace now. What did Steve Ballmer run? He's a big rich guy. I lose track of these rich assholes, what they do. But Microsoft, what does he own? He owns one of these big companies now. He's a cheap CEO. Peyton Manning's birthday we covered today. National Day calendars, National Cheesecake Day, National Diabetes Association Alert Day. So if you got diabetes, it's a lot easier to check your blood sugar nowadays. You don't have to prick your finger every time. National Chocolate Covered Raisin Day. I love me some chocolate. National Cocktail Day. That's every day in America. And it's National AG Day or Ag Day. Yeah, it's time to plant. It's time to plant, folks. It's planting time. And the last frost is gone. And yeah, time to plant. So those are your
time to plant some stuff.
Silliness, your haikus, your mispronunciations, your technical glitches. I gotta load my video. I forgot to load it. For March 24th, 2026 on Before Chocolate Covered Raisins.
I love raisins. Some people don't like them because they're just dried grapes. And they kind of taste like,
yes,
like that. But I like them. I love them. And especially the chocolate covered.
Steve Ballmer, Microsoft. Steve Ballmer took Bill Gates' place at Microsoft.
Oh, okay. For my haiku, tiny foes revealed. Cook's light casts truth on the war. Life beneath our gaze. That's right. People weren't dying of, I don't know. They're dying of disease and infection in the war. In the wars of crowned in golden light against the tides of time. Elizabeth reigns. Everyone remembers her forever. Well, she's born today.
Everybody remembers her for getting smallpox, right? The Virgin Queen, as they called her.
Sweet bites of delight. Chocolate cloaks every raisin tight. Joy in every bite. There you go.
Right.
Love a chocolate raisin. Ooh. Yay!
Oh my God, it's a raisinette.
All right, in our international days, well, speaking of talk, is how I would say it.
Well,
in Dutch, by the way, that's how you would say it. It's World Tuberculosis Day. That's right, by the World Health Organization. Let us announce and celebrate. I would say celebrate our eradication of this disease that used to be killing people. What did it say? 1 in 7 people were dying from this. That's a lot. Not 1 in 1,000. Not 1 in 100. 1 in 7 people. Yeah, people were dying from this, and now nobody. In a lot of countries, most of the world, right? Nobody's dying from this. So thank you. Let's celebrate that. It's also International Day for the Right to Truth concerning gross human rights violations and the dignity of victims. I know it's a long one, but There's things happening out there to people, and they're not telling us about it. So we have the right to know these things are happening, to document that these things are happening, and to share it with the world so that we can know the full and complete truth as the events that transpired to their specific circumstances, who participated in them, including knowing the circumstances in which the violations took place, as well as the reason for them. The right to the truth. So celebrate that. Thank you, the UN, for us celebrating the right to the truth of terrible crimes against humanity. And it's still week of solidarity with people who are struggling against racism and racial discrimination. That's right. Keep up the solidarity with people. I mean, I'm one of the people who suffer for that. Way less, oddly enough, when I moved to Europe, I suffer from it less. But, you know, go back where you came from. I'm not going to give you a job because you look Mexican. Whatever, you know.
Hey, there's plenty of jobs out in the field.
I just mentioned that. The only reason I mentioned that is because I always made a joke when I was younger that the only place I would ever get hired is at a Mexican restaurant or Chipotle. I tried to get hired anywhere else. Target, Walmart, freaking, I don't know, anywhere else. I applied everywhere else. And then I was like, okay, fuck it. I got hired the day I walked into the Chipotle. The day I walked in, I didn't have to wait for an email going, oh, I hope somebody hires me. No, they literally, you're hired. We'll see you tomorrow. Like, so.
I guarantee. Here's the thing: you should have done. Discrimination. You should have just put. Yeah, you should have put down there bilingual. They would have just believed you, right? They wouldn't even have asked, right? You should have just put it down. They would have hired you. Oh, you're bilingual. And you just fake it, you know. You don't even say Spanish. You could have said Latin, right? I speak Latin. I took 2 years of Latin, right?
Yeah, but anyway, that's just an example. That's just an example of, you know, racial discrimination, right? You can't prove it, but it's very awkward, and it's very awkward that you only get hired by the other Mexicans or the other Hispanics. But anyways, this has been Good News Day. I hope you've enjoyed our positive news, and we will see you tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday, in which we'll be sharing all the wacky and weird stuff going in the world so we can share some laughs together, I guess. If you're not already subscribed to the Before Coffee podcast channel, please do that because we need more people to know about the show, and we want more people to experience our non-AI news, right? We're real people saying voices. We're not fake. And
we're barely intelligent.
Yeah, exactly.
We're barely even getting that part right.
Thank you for everyone who's already subscribed, already following, and of course, our podcast supporters on Patreon. And here is our mic drop moment.
This is Steve McQueen after he escaped from prison. His character stole a motorcycle in the surrounding farmland around Germany. I'm pretty sure they filmed this in Germany too. They actually went back.
It looks like the Alps. Oh no, not a barricade.
Richard Attenborough was in this movie. Did you know that? David Attenborough's brother.
You should have just drove through it.
Charles Bronson, James Colbert, and James Garner.
Also, I never realized the reason men are always standing up on the motorcycles is because they don't want to, like, sit on their balls when they go up a hill. I never thought of, I never knew. Yeah, that must be what they're doing it, right? Oh, damn, that was a crazy jump.
You know how your boobs get in the way? We got the same thing. Just staying present.
Yeah, but we're not sitting on our chests, thankfully.
It's just a different thing. It's different in the same.
What are they doing? What were they doing? It sounded like they were shooting. Ah, that's not good. It sounded like you got shot by a laser there. How bizarre.
Los, auf den.
You guys got a pair of wire cutters?
I wish I had a lighter so I could set this thing off. What is it gonna do? What do you want him to do? He's stuck in barbed wire. Get out of there! Okay, dude. Or shoot me? Okay, go ahead and shoot me.
That was real razor wire. If that was real razor wire, there's no way out of it. You just gotta cut your way out. Yeah, you had to go back. They didn't execute him. They executed a bunch of them. I guess it depends on who they caught.
It's weird that they didn't take him out or something after all the trouble he has caused.
Maybe he was an informant. Possibility. I don't know. There were.
I mean, I guess we never found out the
squeals.
story. I guess we never found out the story of why they took him back. Yeah.
They executed a bunch of them. They just executed around this spot. They said, "We don't tired of chasing you guys around this place."
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy